What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. I gave birth! That is pretty much the big announcement why I'm filming this video. I have officially given birth. My beautiful son is currently taking a nap right now in his little bassinet. But I just wanted to share with you guys what it was like, what I've been up to, and just tell you guys a little updates on what's been going on. So thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, hi, my name is Natasha Corrado. This channel is going to turn into Christianity, lifestyle, who I am, what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, and how I implement God in my life all throughout. So if you guys want more book content, you guys can subscribe to my second channel that I have just made. It's going to be exclusively books. It's going to be linked down below. Feel free to subscribe if that's your thing. So without further ado, let's talk about how I gave birth. All right, so I gave birth on May 21st at 6:11 a.m. I went into labor on May 20th and it was a 25-hour labor. So let's talk about what being in labor means, because I, someone who have not been around many pregnant people in my life, thought being in labor meant you're in pain and pushing for 25 hours straight. That was not the case. So my contractions started at like 3:30 in the morning and they woke me up and I was like, okay, I'm having contractions because they're happening consecutively, like one after the other. They didn't hurt that bad. It was just like, oh, I'm having them. So I go to sleep in between contractions. At this point, they're like 15 to 20 minutes apart. 4:30 in the morning, I'm like, okay, they're starting to get a little bit more painful. I'm waking up every 10 minutes and I have to go pee. So I get up to go pee and I wake my husband up and I'm like, hey, I'm having contractions, I'm gonna go pee. As soon as I sit up, my water breaks. And I'm like, oh, I think my water just broke. Here's another thing that I had no idea about. At least for me personally, it was not like the movies. In the movies, it's like Niagara Falls opens up and there's just an explosion of water all around you. It was literally just like a boom, and that was it, like a little dribble. And I was like, I think my water just broke. I check and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's definitely my water just breaking. So I'm like, all right, it's go time. We gotta go. I had a whole checklist on the fridge that said for when it's go time. We got ready to go. We got all the necessities. So we go to the hospital. We get there around 5 o'clock in the morning. All green lights. No one's on the road. It was phenomenal. So we get in there. They check me in. They start checking my vitals. They plug me up and like start monitoring my contractions. They were not painful yet at all, really. Like it was like, wow, this is a little bit uncomfortable, but still like nothing too serious. Like nothing, I wasn't gritting my teeth, none of that. In my head, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be quick. I'm gonna be out of here by 10 in the morning. I wish. I meet the first nurse and they check if I'm dilated, and I wasn't. I was just 1 centimeter dilated, so nothing much at all. They hooked me up to the IVs, all the stuff, and after that, it was literally just a waiting game. And the time went by so fast, I don't even know how. Maybe it's because we were like counting the time in between the contractions, counting the contractions. I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, this one hurt a little worse or whatever. The nurses kept coming in and out, a lot of monitoring, and they told me how I'm supposed to use the bathroom because I was literally plugged in to so many things. I was walking around. My mom came to visit, which was so sweet. So did my dad. They didn't let him up to see me though, which bothered me. Like they literally were like, oh, we're not allowed to let anyone up, but your mom can go and not your dad. And I'm just like, okay, if you're gonna let my mom come, let my dad come too. But anyways, so it was literally just a waiting game all day. At around noon, my contractions started to get pretty bad. Like I would say like a 9 out of 10 in terms of pain, but still bearable. Like I was still okay. I still wasn't thinking about epidural. So the whole day I was like just waiting. I really thought it was gonna happen quicker, but it didn't. So I couldn't eat anything, but it was great because I was able to have broth, Jello, and this like lemon icy. Lemon icy was like a 7 out of 10. The aftertaste was horrible. It was like a 2 out of 10. Jello, I've never been a Jello girl. Not my favorite. Didn't really want to eat that. But the broth that they gave me was fantastic. They gave me chicken broth, and let me tell you, it tasted like Thanksgiving dinner. Don't know how, but it was so good. Maybe it's because I was so hungry, but it really was fantastic. It tasted so good. So I was living off of broth for the 25 hours, and then they came in my room around like 4, I want to say. The contractions were like 5 minutes apart, and they were like, okay, so you're still not really within range of like pushing yet, in like labor. I still wasn't dilated much at all. I think I was just 3 centimeters dilated. They were like, do you want to take Pitocin? And I was like, I need to pray about it. I need to talk to my husband about it. So we prayed about it. We talked and we were like, okay, we're going to take it. Basically to induce the contractions, inducing labor, and just to have my son quicker than just waiting for, like, you know, it naturally to just happen, because at that point it had been 12 hours and it was just, you know, a long time to wait. So I took it, and then very quickly the contractions got way worse. I will admit I was the kind of person that was like, oh, I have a high pain tolerance, like we're gonna see if I need epidural. I talked to the Lord about it, we're gonna play it by ear, and we're just gonna see. When I tell you, I don't know how anyone can handle a natural childbirth, because the pain was fully a 16 out of 10. And that wasn't even at its height, all right? That was just like what happened after 20 minutes of taking Pitocin. So while I was having 16 out of 10 pain level contractions, I was like, hey, nurse, I need an epidural. So I took the epidural, and it really was not, like, everyone makes it seem like it's not good, but they know what they're doing. The doctor soothed me. He was like, you're gonna be okay, this is exactly what we're doing, step by step. His voice was calm, soothing, you know, made sure that I was well, that I was alright. They did it in between my contractions, which is crazy, because at that point my contractions were 2 minutes apart. So they did the whole thing within 2 minutes. It was very smooth, it didn't even hurt, everything went well. The nurse made sure I was super calm, because you have to be like super still when you get epidural. And this is also something I didn't know. They have you like hunched over when you get epidural, because that's just the way they need your back to be positioned. It doesn't go in your spine, it goes like just somewhere in your back, and you have to keep clicking the button for doses of the epidural. So I didn't know all that. That was a new experience for me, but the Lord kept me, and he really made sure I was calm. He put the right nurses and the right doctors with me, so I thank the Lord for that. At that point I was feeling great. I couldn't feel anything at all. That was around 7 p.m. The shift changed, we got a new nurse, I had my broth. I was in a new room at that point, because when we put the Pitocin in, it was like, all right, you're gonna be pushing quicker now since you have the Pitocin. The new nurse comes in, reintroductions, all that good stuff, you know, retelling me everything that's going on, how it's gonna go. And she's like, now is the time to rest. You have the epidural, just go to sleep. Go to sleep until tomorrow. Go to sleep until you feel like it's time to push. I'm like, perfect, sounds good to me. I've been up since 4 a.m. I'm going to bed. So that's what I do. I go to bed, I go to sleep. The thing with the epidural is that you have to keep pressing the button every 15 minutes for the dose to remain strong enough so that you don't feel the contractions as much as you would. I had fallen asleep, and I missed maybe one click of the button, maybe 2. I woke up because I started feeling, you know, a little bit of pain. Press the button, go back to sleep. Maybe I missed another one, another 2 presses of the button. I wake up, I still feel it like slightly more than I did before. Press the button one more time, go back to sleep. At around 11:30 midnight, I wake up and I'm in excruciating pain. Like, it was different than what the contraction felt like without the epidural. Without the epidural, the best way I could describe it is that my body is being ripped apart, and the ripping is happening around here. Like, literally, it feels like someone has my torso and my legs and they're pulling my body apart. With the epidural, the contraction was reduced to the core, like right here, and I just felt like a ball of white hot pain, just like in my core right there. Something else that I didn't know happened, and the only reason why I know it's normal is because the nurses were like, oh yeah, that happens, you know, a lot of pregnant women, it's like totally fine, don't worry about it, it's normal, it'll pass. You get the shakes. I got the shakes. So I was going through contractions, I was hungry, the epidural was fully not even doing its thing anymore. It low-key was, but it wasn't. Like, I still felt like 17, 18 out of 10 pain. And I started literally vibrating on my bed. Like, my whole body, it wasn't just like a little shaking here. My whole body was shaking. My teeth were clattering. It was horrible. So I wake up, I'm like, oh my gosh, it hurts so bad. I'm shaking. And then 20 minutes after that, the nausea kicks in. And they were like, oh yeah, this is all normal. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I wish it wasn't. I wish I didn't have to go through this at all. I was throwing up water, basically. All I had was broth. I was shaking at the same time I was throwing up, and I was going through the contractions all at the same time. So needless to say, I was having a grand old time. My husband was there with me, and the pain got so bad that I literally was just saying Jesus over and over and over again. I literally was just like, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Like, I was holding my husband's hand. He was there with me. He was praying over me too. At one point, I got so fed up with feeling pain and having contractions and dealing with all that and shaking too. And it was making me even more exhausted because I was trying to make my body stop shaking so bad. So I was like, all right, God. This next contraction is not going to hurt. Oh, he just started crying. I said, Lord, this next contraction is not going to hurt. And gone. Literally, like, actually, poof. I stopped shaking. Like, I was like vibrating, and then I was like, and I was just laying there, and I was completely still. I felt the contraction, but it didn't hurt. It was like the Lord had taken away the pain associated with the contraction, and I felt what my body was doing, but I didn't feel the pain associated with it. And that's what happened for that next contraction, and it was miraculous, to say the least. And I can tell you the epidural did not kick in at that point. They had called in a nurse to give me a top up of epidural because I was shaking so bad and I was in so much pain, and it did not kick in yet. He was like, oh, it should kick in within 15 minutes. That did not happen at all. So the Lord did that for me, and my husband has a story about that too. Do you want to share it now or no? Or should I say it? Okay. So my husband has a part in that story where he told me after the fact, like when we were like reminiscing about what happened, he was like, when you were in so much pain, like I wanted to take that pain away from you, and I was just like willing the pain away, and I was like, God, why would you take this pain away from my wife? He said that the Lord told him, because you're holding on so tightly, I can't do it for you. You have to let go. And he said to me, he was like, it seems so contrary to let go when you love this person so much. You don't want to let go. You want to be there for them. You want to take the pain away. But God can't work if you're still holding on. You have to let go so that he can come in, because God's a gentleman. It's this allowance that you allow him into the space that you're trying so hard to, change. So the revelation that the Lord gave me when my husband was saying this is that your spirit occupies a space that the Lord's spirit can work in. So it really is true. When we rest, God works. When we let go, God can do his thing. So as soon as my husband let go, that's when I said, God, this next one is not going to hurt. My husband let go, completely fine. I stopped shaking. And every single time I called on the Lord's name, I stopped shaking. I calmed down. My face was relaxed, because like if you saw me, I was making the craziest faces trying to handle the pain. The Lord significantly diminished the pain that I was experiencing with the contractions, and I give all the glory to him, because when I tell you that epidural did not kick in until, you know what, I don't even want to give any credit to the epidural, because I still felt the pain an hour after. I'm giving all glory to the Lord that he took the pain away, and within like an hour and a half after all that, I was good. I didn't feel any pain anymore, like no pain whatsoever. So that was around like 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm gonna hold him. So the pain stopped at 2 in the morning, and I fell asleep. Me and my husband were not. It's okay. And we both fell asleep. We fell asleep at 5 o'clock in the morning. The nurse comes in and she's like, you want to get checked? Like, you want to get to see how dilated you are? And I'm like, sure. His head was literally there. Mind you, I was fully dilated and his head was literally right there, ready to come crawling out. So she was like, okay, it's go time. We're going to start pushing. They go and they get ready, and my husband and I are like, okay, it's time, we're doing this. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. So they take like 30 minutes to get ready, sterilize, whatever, do the thing. It was just the nurse, the doctor, and my husband. I thought it was going to be a whole party full of people. It was literally just 3 of them, which was fine. I started playing Kids by Brandon Lake, which, phenomenal song. Like, that's definitely the song that has really spoken to me out of his new album. So we played Kids by Brandon Lake in the room while I was giving birth. She told me how to push. She told me what an effective push was, and we started. And I started pushing, and they were like, good, keep going, you're doing so good, you're a natural at this, keep going. And he came out at 6:11 a.m. And when I tell you, I didn't have any pain. 0 pain pushing. Normally, you still have pain while having epidural and pushing, but 0 pain. He came out within 27 minutes, and my beautiful baby boy pooped all over me as soon as he came out. Literally, the instant he came out, black tar all over me. But that's a funny story. It was really, really fun. It was just an all-around beautiful experience. The Lord was there. And now I have my precious little baby boy in my arms. So That's what happened May 21st. It's been over a month now that I'm filming this for you guys to know the new updates of my life. Since then, we've been adjusting. You know, I've been learning how to be a mama, learning how to be his mama, and it's been really, really good. Being a mom has made me more of who God always knew I was going to be. So I feel definitely more like myself. I don't feel like I've changed, but I feel like I've grown. I feel that, like I said, the only way I can describe it is that I'm more of who I know I'm going to be, of who God has made me to be. So basically, like, I'm just like more Natasha, if that makes sense, but it feels really good to be his mom. I love him so much. He's amazing. He's so funny and cute. That is my birth story. That is everything that happened. And it's been amazing since then. So I'm gonna go take care of my baby, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that is. God bless you guys, and peace. All done.